Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. I'm your host, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Folks, we're hearing about in New York City, the first major city in the United States to go to something called congestion pricing, and you see it up there on the screen. And my whole dissertation here is congestion pricing a bait and switch? And what is the effect, or what is it? We don't know yet, but what is the effect going to be on congestion pricing and subway crime? Because my whole dissertation here is because people are jumping the turnstiles with impunity and almost no teeth in the law, that they're not prosecuted for it. Basically, they're allowed to do it. That the MTA, this big bureaucracy called the MTA that every year comes in way over budget, spends much more money than they bring in, and they're losing millions and millions and millions of dollars from fare evaders. But they're not willing to attack that problem. They're not willing to attack the problem of emotionally disturbed people taking over the subway system. So what's the easiest way? Well, let's hit the taxpayer. Let's hit the people in the outer boroughs that drive their cars into the city, and let's pretend it's about congestion in traffic. Let's pretend that. And let's bang these poor taxpayers minimum $9 during the peak times to drive into the city. Let's hit them for $9 more in addition to the taxes that they pay on gasoline, the taxes that they pay to register their car, the taxes they pay on insurance. Let's destroy these taxpayers that are barely making it by, because you know why? The MTA needs more money. The MTA needs so much more money. This guy, Jano Lieber, $450,000 head of the MTA. He needs more money because every year his budget blows up. But they're not willing. They're unwilling to attack the problem. And we've heard of some horrific crimes in the subway very recently. And the MTA and the mayor and the new police commissioner, they say it's a problem of perception. Because in reality, statistically, crime is down in the subway. Does anyone believe that for a second when they just allow emotionally disturbed people to live in the subway? People are jumping the turnstile with impunity. Every single person, just about, let's go 90%, 90 to 100% of people that commit crime in a subway, do you think they pay their fare? Of course not. So they took that tool away from the police. Arresting people for theft of service. Then you have search incidental to lawful arrest. Get them the hell out of the system. Put them in jail for a day or two. Nah, that's inhumane. You know, they'd rather the taxpayer get attacked and pushed on tracks than set on fire. You know, that's the answer. Not to, they had the problem solved years ago. They unfixed it. The subway got really safe years ago, and then they refused to prosecute fare evaders. And what you see now is what happened. So, folks, hold on to your hats. Hold on to your loved ones. Hold on to your cup of coffee. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off-the-cuff zone, the police off-the-cuff zone.
There has to be some common sense.
They were the ones who called 911 to get him help, and now they're calling for change.
And now a word from our sponsor. BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, to NHL and UFC, BetOnline is the #1 sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns to three-pointers and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, folks, let's get back to the topic at hand. And, is my dissertation on this, am I correct? Is this a bait and switch? Is this just the MTA trying to get taxpayer money to fund some of their projects for the 2025 year and going forward? Or is this legitimate? Is their concern really traffic in the city? I think not. I think traffic has almost nothing to do with this. I think it's basically that the city is looking for more money. And because they're paying the MTA chairman $450,000 a year, I find that really disturbing. This guy's being paid $450,000 a year, and he's talking about congestion. Is he really? The congestion is being caused by your salary, and other people. Because now what's going to happen to the people that drive their cars to work? Are they going to park somewhere else and then take the subway? Are more people now going to be riding the subway? Maybe the people that drive their car should jump the turnstile since there's no penalty for doing that. This is from NBC New York. This little piece here.
Pricing with the controversial toll finally taking effect. During peak times, like right now, drivers are going to have to pay $9 to enter Manhattan below 61st Street.
We've got you covered today with a team of reporters covering this first weekday of congestion pricing. Jen Maxfield in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. But first, we want to get to News 4's Andrew Siff live at the entrance to the congestion relief zone. This is on the Upper East Side. Andrew.
That's right. Behind me, one of the many gantries. These are the electronic toll readers, which have been hovering over the streets of Manhattan for months, but now they're actually active, automatically billing your Easy Pass, or if you don't have Easy Pass, taking a picture of your license plate so you can get a bill. The question is it improving gridlock? Even the governor acknowledged today it's too soon to say. On a downtown bus in Midtown Manhattan, commuters hoping for a better trip to work. It's supposed to speed up your bus ride. Do you think it will?
Probably not. Yeah, but you have to give everything a chance.
Today is the first work day for that chance. When do you think New Yorkers will feel the impact of congestion?
I don't want to mislead anybody. It's going to take a while for people to adjust behavior.
The MTA chairman riding alongside the New Yorkers he has long promised will benefit from the nation's first congestion toll. Decades in the planning, now in effect. Cars with Easy Pass, $9 and $2.25 off-peak. Peak hours, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. during the week and 9 to 9 on weekends.
There are people who have been begging for this from all neighborhoods.
There are also people who've been fighting it. Months of lawsuits failed to stop these electronic toll gantries from getting activated on Sunday. Those license plate readers at 110 detection points with 1,400 cameras and 815 signs. The zone is all of Manhattan south of 61st Street, except the FDR Drive and West Side Highway.
It does take some time for folks to figure out a new traffic pattern, a new way of life.
I'll be real honest with all of you. Is the traffic, it's down. It's down today. Congestion pricing or snow? I don't know.
But Governor Hochul, who had paused congestion pricing last spring, only to unpause in November at a price 40% lower than planned, said the promised mass transit modernization will take time.
By next year, I'd like to see some of the trains come in faster than they do right now. That's one change right there. I can make that fairly quickly.
The governor's office clarifying that what she's talking about there is improved commuter rail. Metro North, for example, already earmarked with money in the existing capital plan to speed up times, maybe as much as 15 minutes faster getting to Grand Central. As for subways and buses, it's going to take a lot longer than that. And as for convincing drivers who don't like congestion pricing, well, good luck with that. We're live on the Upper East Side. Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
So, yeah, basically, good luck with that. Automobile owners, people that commute to the city by car, good luck with that, you know. So imagine if you come in the city every day, 5 days a week. That's $9. That's $45 a week, $180 more a month that you will be paying to commute into the city. And there are those that would say, oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. You know, you're polluting the air. You're doing this, you're doing that. But people are on a strict budget, you know, and governments can overspend. They can keep spending your money, but it's not going to be there forever, you know. And one of the things we also have to realize is that how about people now? Can the subway handle all these new commuters and the lack of safety in the subway? Is that going to deter many people from going underground and taking what we used to call the iron horse? You know, we used to take it when we were cops, you know, after working 24, 30 hours coming back from court by yourself, barely being able to stay awake, riding the iron horse. Well, and the reality is it's much more dangerous now.
Scene on the New York City subway. The video difficult to watch. A man injured after he was out of nowhere, shoved in front of an oncoming train in Chelsea. The suspect quickly captured by police and just charged with attempted murder. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon has the story.
The chilling video obtained by Eyewitness News shows a man standing close to the edge of the platform behind a couple of ferry evaders and another man approaching and casually shoving him in front of a 1 train just after 1:30 this afternoon at 18th Street. First responders would go between the stopped subway cars to rescue the 45-year-old victim and take him to Bellevue Hospital. Sources tell us he is a New York City resident and is in stable condition tonight. Less than an hour after the attack, a suspect was in custody, identified as 23-year-old Kamel Hawkins of Brooklyn. Tonight, riders on the same Chelsea platform headed to their New Year's Eve destinations are calling the attack brutal and scary.
I'm ready to go back home. I'm ready to go back home. I came here for a good time, and I'm scared that things like this might happen to me.
They want to hike fares up and they want to do certain things, but they can't even keep the people of New York City protected. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sad.
New Yorkers must feel safe.
Today, the mayor defended his efforts to get people off the subway system who are sleeping or seem like they need mental health services. He pointed to lower crime on the subway in 2024 and declines overall since 2009, but admits the perception just doesn't match the reality.
People don't want to hear that. It says someone just got burned, Eric. If someone is shoved to the subway system on the tracks, people are seeing and feeling what they're reading. So our success is overshadowed.
And the cameras that help lead to arrests, like they did tonight, also make those disturbing crimes more visible to more people.
I actually still feel relatively safe. You know, it's a big city and there's a lot of subway stations and a lot of people commuting. But yeah, it's still really scary when you see it on video like that so clearly.
Kamel Hawkins was quickly apprehended and held here at 59th Street thanks to transit cops looking for the person in that video. He is charged tonight with attempted murder and assault as a felony. Police believe this was random. They say he did not know the victim and said nothing to him before pushing him in front of that train. In Columbus Circle, Sonia Rincon.
So I would say to Mayor Adams, Governor Hochul, MTA Chairman Jan Oliva, it's not just a problem of perception. It's a problem of real crimes occurring, you know. One of the things I would say that could solve this problem is reinstitute arresting and prosecuting for theft of service as a misdemeanor. When you think the guy who pushed the man onto the tracks paid his fare? Do you think he did? I think we saw him jump in the turnstile, right? So that would have solved the problem right there. But they're not willing to do that. Part B to this, get anti-crime, plainclothes transit officers back in the subway system, back on the trains, back protecting people. Because then would-be criminals will always be looking over their shoulder. Is that guy over there a cop? They don't have to worry about that now because they did away with anti-crime both on the street and down in the subway. One of the most effective units in the history of the NYPD. So it almost seems like they're trying not to prevent and stop and arrest criminals. That's the most effective unit we ever had. Let's get rid of it. And again, so reinstitute prosecuting theft of service as a misdemeanor and let it be known. When there's something in the law called search incidental to lawful arrest. And when someone jumps the turnstile, A, they can be arrested, and B, officers can search them. And lo and behold, it was proven many years ago, most of the guns on people illegally entering the subway system were coming through search incidental to lawful arrest after that person had jumped the turnstile. So strategy, but I don't think they're willing to go backwards. They didn't fix things that were broken. They broke things that didn't need to be fixed. They just broke things that worked. Anti-crime, charging theft of service a misdemeanor. The Manhattan DA's office, Alvin Bragg, refuses to prosecute that. But he had no problem prosecuting this man, Daniel Penny, when he came to the defense of himself and others from an EDP, an emotionally disturbed person on the subway system that was threatening to kill people. So Bragg had no problem prosecuting him. So we have to change our strategy down in the subway. And when I hear that that individual, the MTA chairman, this guy, arrogance, Jano Lieber, there he is walking with the transit chief of police. It's perception. No, it's not perception. There you are in your fancy suit walking down. You look so out of place in the subway. And, the arrogance of saying it's perception. No, it's way more than perception.
Set on fire and who was killed in that Brooklyn subway car has now been tentatively identified. That's how police are describing it. They say the victim appears to be 61-year-old Debrina Kawam. They believe that she was homeless, sleeping on subway cars when she was killed. She was originally from Toms River, New Jersey. Fingerprints and DNA evidence were among the tools that helped pinpoint her identity. A suspect now in custody, as you see photos of him here.
The suspect there was also an emotionally disturbed person. So not only do we need to utilize the transit police, but we need to utilize social workers going on the train, homeless outreach, social workers that remove that. Well, they can't remove anybody, but they can implore the person to get off the subway and to come and get some help. Working in conjunction with the transit police homeless outreach program. When the solutions to these things aren't to arrest people. It's to hit on all cylinders, use all strategies to try to correct the problems in the subway. And that is the answer more than, arresting people, but to keep people safe, to keep the taxpayers safe. And as I said, I really believe that that this whole congestion pricing plan is a bait and switch. They basically want to allow people to keep jumping the turnstiles. And the solution is we can't afford to lose a lot of money. All right, let's have people that commute into the city under the guise of congestion. Let's charge them $9. They wanted to charge $15. And believe me, the congestion pricing price will not go down. It will only go up. And another thing about congestion pricing, what about trucks that deliver our food, that deliver the products to stores? All of those things are going to go up because they got to include the toll, the congestion pricing tab, and the price of the product and the price of your food. Food's already astronomically priced. So now all of those things, as the MTA smiles and like, oh, we're getting all this new money. Who's paying for it? the consumer. And to me, look, I'm happy that I don't work in the city any longer. I don't commute. I used to commute by car, but I wouldn't have really affected me because I commuted outside of the congestion pricing. It's below 61st Street. I worked in Upper Manhattan. But when you have to travel around, you're subject to that if you're going downtown. So they're talking about deploying more officers in the subway. Let's see how that would go.
For the MTA. Consider this. On one hand, it wants all that money from drivers paying congestion pricing tolls. On the other hand, it also wants fewer commuters on the streets and more on the subways, which for a lot of people are kind of problematic. Today, NYPD Commissioner Tisch adding more than 200 New York cops to the trains and platforms for safety. That's on top of the hundreds already on patrol underground. But many say they need more than just 200 extra new cops. So what to do about all this? Safan Kim in Lower Manhattan, he's live with the latest. Safan.
Well, Bill, the mayor and police commissioner say it's not the fight against crime that they're losing, it's the perception battle, they say, the way people feel. And to fix that, they're announcing a new strategy, and it has to do with where they deploy cops underground.
Hell no. I gotta worry about getting pushed by someone if I don't know them, a random homeless person. I don't feel safe.
I've never felt less safe to be here. It's just been a pure mess.
It's hard to blame riders for the way they feel these days underground. But Mayor Adams says, don't allow the latest headline-grabbing subway assaults to fool you.
Nothing is more horrific than watching a person burned to death on our subway system. We know how individuals feel when they're shoved to the tracks for no reason at all. The average New Yorker would...
I can't believe you said that. We know how people feel when they're shoved to the tracks. So really, do you? Have you ever been shoved to the tracks? We know how they feel. I mean, how would you feel? How would anyone feel? Not only does the person pushed to the tracks feel that way, but what you're trying to sell to us, the perception. This doesn't happen once a year. This happens multiple times a year. I think this year had the highest amount of homicides in the transit system. I believe, and I could be wrong, I believe there was 11 murders in the transit system this year. So it's more than perception. You know what I used to do when I was waiting for a train? I'd stand in front of the pillar, so I was unable to be pushed onto the tracks, or step back far enough so that I wasn't, at risk of that.
Believe that they're living in a city that is out of control. That is not the reality.
Instead, the mayor says, look at the numbers. Subway crime is down more than 5% from a year ago. December is down more than 15%. And he says January is trending to be down more than 20%.
We need to make sure New Yorkers are feeling safe.
And with that, the police commissioner today unveiled the latest strategy to tackle high crime zones.
Effective this week, I've directed that we move more than 200 officers onto the trains to do specialty train patrols. And I have further directed that we deploy more officers onto subway platforms in the 50 highest crime stations in the city.
But what's different this time around? The commissioner says it's about where officers will be deployed. According to the NYPD, nearly 80% of subway crime occurs on trains and on platforms.
So that's where the majority of our cops need to be, not in the mezzanines, not at the entrances.
As for the mentally ill, Governor Hochul says the mayor backs her plan to involuntarily commit and remove some of them from the subway system.
I think it's going to be really important for us to get those changes to give doctors the ability to allow someone to stay longer without cycling them back in the street.
Now, the governor says she will announce her plan next week. As for surging the system with cops, the commissioner says this will be done without adding to overtime, which she is trying to rein in. As for what kind of impact this will have by moving cops from the entrances and mezzanines to trains and platforms, what kind of an impact it'll have on fare evasion enforcement, that part is still unclear. Reporting live at One Police Plaza, Safan Kim, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
So does that really make everyone feel better and safer? Because 200 more officers, that's great. You know, of course, everyone wants more cops down in the subway, but with a little wand, a wave of the wand, they're gone next week, you know. as soon as the next big incident happens up on the street, all those cops that were deployed to the subway are absolutely gone. Again, and when I talk about, this is the big problem, subway turnstile jumpers, huge problem, right? But they're not willing to address that because that's already been addressed and it's been proven to really work. You know, you look at the map that I have up on the screen, getting back to congestion pricing. You can see these are the zones below 61st Street. And so is it, as far as congestion, is it going to work? I don't know. I'm not going to be, all I know is that people from the outer boroughs, commuters, are being unfairly targeted with this tax, in my opinion, okay? If I was a commuter and I had to add $180 on to my monthly budget to pay for congestion pricing to go into the city, I don't know if I could in fact afford it. And again, what effect will it have on subway crime? And that's more people down in the subway. Is the city, or is the police commissioner, or the transit police, is the MTA willing to commit the resources to stop subway crime?
On the subway last week, Jamar Banks facing assault and weapons possession charges after he was accused of stabbing an MTA employee Thursday and another man on New Year's Day. We're now learning the suspect has been arrested, drum roll please, 87 times. Joining us now is the founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, you've been in the subways, you tell me, since 1979. Now you and your team are back there. What brought you back there? Cases like that?
It's never been worse, Brian. And we have a combination where when you descend into the subway, it's a combination of Dante's Inferno, Clockwork Orange, and Jack Nicholson in The Shining. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This guy you're talking about, 87 priors, not hard to find.
Living in the subway.
He lives on 2 lines. He only is a creature of habit, rides the 2 and the 5 train with a knife in his hand. The cops lock him up. D.A. Bragg, you know his name, cuts him loose time and time again. He's a threat to everybody in that subway system. Then they put out an all points bulletin. This man is extremely dangerous. Well, let me tell you something. Everyone is in danger on the subway. Look at that woman who was turned into a human torch.
From New Jersey.
Debrina Kawam, cheerleader, all-American girl, the Jersey girl. See, when I'm dealing with the homeless and emotionally disturbed, which is what we Guardian Angels do because they're the forgotten people. They're Americans. And migrants, they put up in hotels. Americans, they allow to sit in their squalor and ride round and round. We don't help them. And when we talk to them, we find out they're people just like you and me who just had a hard time, and now they're forced to live on the subway. And our officials, our governor and our mayor, do nothing.
But not only that, they are bragging. The governor has cut a video showing how great it is on the subway, bragging that we have cameras in every subway. Good. Now we can video the assaults as they happen, and the attacks
and then
as they take place.
Right, and then do nothing.
So the NYPD can't staff an academy like they used to.
Right.
So because not enough, we don't have enough cops on the subway. It's all related to the fact they're not backed up by the mayor, by the and the governor, because there's no qualified immunity. You're going to get sued if you put your hands on anyone. There's cameras everywhere trying to get you.
Right.
So that is the situation in the subway, congestion pricing, and my whole, again, dissertation today is congestion pricing a bait and switch? And what's the relation between congestion pricing and subway crime? We can obviously see that there is one. So till the next time, folks, I'm Bill Cannon from Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make comments, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring the bell, share us with your friends and your family. Contribute to us on Patreon or join us on YouTube or channel members. Have a great day, everyone, and God bless.
One episode just ain't enough.